Alright, here goes. Not gonna pre-write because screw that noise. Have dad that lives in the middle of the Ozark Mountains, stay with him for a few weeks to a month every summer. Mom has custody, but she and dad are on good terms. House isn't GR8M8, but he made a lot of the furniture out of local cedar and he's a pretty skilled carpenter/engineer type. Has his own sawmill and wood shop that brother was with me, used to make candlesticks and tables and things when we got older. House had this little screen wall porch, important later, on the side 90 degrees away from the door. It has a sliding door, but it's busted so you have to walk about 20 feet around the house each time you want to go in or come out. Anyway. B11/12. Few days left until we go home to mom's, excited to go home and play vidya. It's nighttime. Me and bro's bedroom is on second floor, only window has good view of front yard, red, trees to left and right, driveway and road to front. Trying to fall asleep, but too excited. Hear dad and stepmom talking downstairs, which is weird cause they're always asleep by 10ish. Front_door_opening.wave. This is weird. Look out window, see dad walk out with a flashlight and his old double barrel, don't know model, sorry/K/Amandos. Goes to leftmost tree lean and shines light here and there. Debate waking brother up about this, but he gets pissy real easy. Hear gunshot and nearly shit myself whipping back to window. Look back in time to see dad thumb another shell into the breech. Whatever he was doing, he wanted 2 shots at the ready. So nervous I actually hear the clack of the gun. See him walk backwards all the way to house, trying to hold his gun and flashlight up at same time. It was one of those big clunker-knucking ones that used the massive battery. He makes it uneventfully, I'm too wired to fall back asleep. Next few days, he seems weird and more quiet than usual, doesn't want to do any of the stuff he normally leaps at with us. We left a few days later and I was too chicken-shit to ask him about it. The next year we visited, though, things were different around the house. Drive up to his house. Rode there with a half-grown English Mastiff taking up 80% of the back seat. Friendly enough to us, but slobbery. Finally make it around late afternoon, suddenly. Lights. Fucking everywhere. Floodlights at each corner of the house. Lights on posts. Goddamn Christmas lights strung up around the outside. Honest to God watchtowers set up on 3 sides of the house. Sawmill's been moved. New platform on top of the wood shop. 4 or 5 new guns, all high-powered rifles, again, no model because I was a kid. All I have now is a 700 ADL for der huntin'. My fuck, there's even a concrete bunker. It's /K/S wet dream. In for fake, I shit you not, my dad's place is still set up like this. It was in the days before camera phones, early 2000s, and it never occurred to me to take pictures of his shame until now. Ask him what it's all for. Platforms, deer stands, 4 of them. All within 200 feet of the house. Bunker, auto maintenance, nice roof on your auto maintenance pit. The lights, to make the place more cheery, or to blind commercial aircraft. The dogs and guns, to keep weirdos off the property. The ways he answered my questions still bugs me. They sounded 100% rehearsed. Anyway, thanks for reading past all the expository bullshit. Needed to set the stage for next post. Right. Now for the shit my dad doesn't like talking about. Go to bed that night, there's a new heavy curtain on the window. Why? Because the lights are always on. Wake up that night to a gunshot, look outside. My eyes.jpg. See dad on one of the deer stands, working the bolt on one of his new guns. Something's up. Next morning he's practically vegetative. Ask him about last night. Trying to get us a deer to barbecue. Shrug.gif. Ask if I can go outside and play. He thinks for a moment and says yes, but not to go off into the woods. Super intense eyes when he said that last thing, despite being raccoon-eyed. Go outside, make a beeline for the stand he was on last night. Feet clink on pile of .30 shells. If you've been doing your math, all the new gear plus those expensive ass rounds should be adding up to quite a sum. His job's not terrible, but that crap must have been expenside. Fast forward a few days. Dad got a pig from one of his neighbors, closest one is at least 5 miles in any direction, and we spent the day learning to barbecue properly. Dad has the shotty on standby and Fonzie, his old German shepherd, nearby the entire time. That evening we're all sitting on the screen porch, licking our fingers when Fonzie starts barking his head off, staring at the ravine behind the house. The dogs on the other side start barking and growling too. Dad starts up and nearly knocks the plate off his lap. He grabs the gun and stares down the ravine. Cat, stepmom, take the boys inside. Suddenly hear sound of branches snapping from trees near the bunker. We're being flanked. Brother and I are swapping nervous glances, just about pissing ourselves. Without a word, Dad hands Cat Fonzie's leash and takes the rear while she leads us inside. Once inside the greenhouse it's straight shot to the door and the 6 of us go in. Dad grabs a flashlight, a new gun, and a bug-out bag filled with rounds and goes outside with Fonzie. Cat tries to keep us entertained with a stash of old kids' tapes, but neither of us are interested. Brother wants to go out and help Dad. I'm pissing my britches. For about half an hour it's nothing but gunshots, growling, and the occasional yell from Dad. The window-mounted AC is running and there's a weird smell to the air. Old barbecue, gun smoke, and something absolutely awful. Not trying to copy Opie, but it's almost exactly how he put it. Rank horse sweat mixed with something like old manure and hot death and stale piss. Cat decides to risk it and opens the door to see what's going on. When she does, the house is immediately flooded with the stench. She shouts out to him, he barks back, keep that closed. She keeps that closed. Eventually bodily needs overcome fear and I walk off to the bathroom. It's set on the wall that faces the ravine. This next bit's gonna sound seriously fake, but it's the reason I keep all my windows covered to this day. As I'm shitting, I look up at the bathroom mirror. Something in the reflection looks back at me. It's illuminated by the light from inside and outside, so I get a better look at it than I ever would have wanted to. Bullet-shaped head, but not in the traditional sense. Stand a 9mm round on its base and you get the idea. Rough gray-red fur with a forward-facing whirl, that little swirly thing on the back of your head, and what looks like a /part/ on one side. Eyes. Fuck me, the eyes are the absolute worst, just no t-jank to. Its face is sort of lopsided, but the nose is large and squashed, the mouth is hanging open a little and the teeth are sort of tombstone shaped and cruddy. My butthole nearly explodes from the sheer force of my fear shits. I just sit, shit and stare at the thing's reflection, my mind failing to change gears. Then it leans forward and I hear the clunk of its face hitting the glass above my head. Thanks for reading. The more I type this out, the more comes back, like it always does in stories like this, yada yada. I'm at my mom's on winter break right now, it's in a woods, and I have a thick blanket tacked around my window. Let's continue. The new source of input recalibrates my brain, it realizes that this thing is right the fuck behind me. I start wailing like a banshee, hear the thing fucking gurgle through the glass. Flail sprint my way through the bathroom door, trip on my pants, still around my ankles, and get a chunk of wood from the kitchen's shitty particle board floor lodged in my knee. Too scared to feel pain or embarrassment, Cat and brother come into the kitchen, see me panting and sobbing, sprawled on the floor, pants around my feet, staring at the bathroom. I didn't even have time to wipe. Cat asks what happened and as I pull my pants up, Dad comes barging through the door. Guess he heard my screams and thought I was being befuckled by some big gurgling monkey dog bastard. He sees me on the floor, bleeding, and immediately starts yelling about how I raised that much of a racket over a busted knee. I see his fear/relief/anger and raise him the hurt and pure terror of a tween that lost a staring contest with a fucking monster. Tell him about thing I saw. He tells me and my brother to go upstairs. Don't remember much after that except that he went back out, left one of the other dogs with us, and that cat helped clean and bandage my knee. The next day, Dad wouldn't let us go outside, but the smell was still in the house. He called our mom up to come to Springfield, halfway meet-up point, the next day. Pig was gone, about 80 pounds of exquisitely barbecued leftovers and carcass that Dad had promised the neighbor in exchange for the pig. One of the dogs was missing. Dad stayed inside with us that night. I was too afraid to go downstairs to bathroom, so he gave me a milk bottle and an extra blanket as a privacy tent. And that's really it. He took us to Springfield the next day after making us promise not to tell Mom. I might not have shown it very well, but he loved the hell out of us and didn't want her to stop bringing us. I was there again a year or so ago. We barbecued in his new, hand-built, smokehouse, drank, shot the shit, but the second I brought up the incident I've been posting, it killed the mood immediately. All he said was we haven't been having any trouble for the last few and went back to drinking. It's worth mentioning though, that there's another new addition to his place. A concrete slab off past the trees in the back of the house. It's not raised off the ground, and it's not very cleanly laid out. It's about 5 feet wide, 6 or 7 long, and if you kick up the dirt around it you dig up a thin layer of black shit, like soot. Now I'm not saying that he managed to kill one of the things, burned its corpse in a pit, and buried it all under concrete. But if he did, I hope it was the big gurgly bastard.
Oh my god, man. That gurgling sound, I have heard it before, except I live in Australia. I have posted my story in a couple of spooky Australia threads before, but it isn't very interesting apart from the bit where me and my 2 friends hear something circling our tent gurgling and growling/laughing at 2 in the morning while camping in the middle of bumfuck nowhere bushland.